Number 3 on the current On3 rankings, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Joe, your thoughts of what the Notre Dame Fighting Irish has been able to do down the stretch here and some really good things that they've been able to do in recruiting.
They started this cycle pretty hot. They were doing a great job in the spring of going and getting up guys like Rodney Dunham, who eventually was recognized as a 5-star by pretty much every outlet after they updated a lot of the rankings. He is the exceptional piece that they have in here, but they were on a heater last week. They were the real antithesis of us doing this segment. We even had some Notre Dame listeners that were commenting and asking, like, are you guys going to talk about this? We had to. Ian Premer, the tight end, the number 4 tight end, was one of the highest rated ranked tight ends that they've ever gotten in a tight end recruit.
Oh, no, Notre Dame got a tight end.
Well, that's crazy. It's crazy for me to say that with the history of tight end recruits that have gone to Notre Dame. It's one of the highest rated kids since Michael Mayer came in there, and he was huge for the program. Cardi Adams, the number 6 corner on 3, is super significant. But this all comes to me with them getting Joey O'Brien, who was a fast rising name over the past 3-4 months in the recruiting industry. He has been picking up steam. He is a tall, long defensive back who looks a lot like Kyle Hamilton. It might be even faster than Kyle Hamilton. 6'3", 6'4", can cover for days. And he might even be able to play receiver. He might end up playing on the offensive side of the football. He is that athletic to play both sides. He just dominated during the OT7. He won the award for the best player out there, I believe. This kid is a true blue chipper that Notre Dame needs on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that if you keep him committed, which it's a kind of uncertain, he might be a kid who changes his mind down the road, but if you keep him committed and he signs and he shows up, that is the type of a prospect that continues to build this defensive dominance that they've had over the past few years under Marcus Freeman.
Well, I think the biggest thing for Joey O'Brien is not the fact that you get a 5-star here, a top 30 guy in the class. What I think it's the biggest thing is Joe, the week before he committed, the week before he visited Notre Dame, because he visited Notre Dame on June the 13th, was the week 7 days before that, he went to Oregon. The week before that, he went to Clemson. I can keep doing this. So I do think 2 things with Joey O'Brien here. Number 1, it comes up to a fact in reference to that you're getting, he visited you last. I always think that that's a big deal on where a kid's telling you he wants to go. Joe, inside the state of Pennsylvania is Joey O'Brien. The week before Clemson, he was at Penn State. So you look at where these kids, by their actions, what they're telling you. And you got to give Marcus Freeman one thing. Joe, they're recruiting at a pretty damn high level in the DB room at both levels, at safety and at corner. Now, don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way, because I do not mean this in a wrong way. There have been times where I've seen dominating teams. LSU 2011 comes to mind for me, where you went out there and you absolutely dominated that area. Remember Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson, Mo Claiborne, those level of dudes. Joe, it was a no-fly zone. Brandon Taylor was a guy that I played high school with who was a part of that. Joe, they were doing exactly what Notre Dame is doing at the current moment. And maybe that 2011 team that I was talking about was one of the better secondaries that we saw. You know who else did that? Bama. Now, the thing that separated Bama versus everybody else was that they did that in defensive line and linebacker too. You cannot ignore what Notre Dame's doing in the secondary. It's unignorable what they're doing and what they've been recruiting there. As an entire class, there are a couple more pieces I think they need to add here. They are in contention for the number 1 overall class. And people will snicker and laugh at that, but it is the truth. Got to add some more pieces. But in the secondary, Joe, it's undeniable. But then they went back. This is how I feel looking at them. From the month of June on, they went and got 2 guys that are premier athletes, premier dudes. Then they went full Notre Dame. You ready? They went quarterback, tight end, and 2 offensive linemen. It's the most Notre Dame thing ever. But you have the infrastructure let's be us, but we're going to go out and we're going to go into Pennsylvania and win on a kid that's a 5-star kid for him to come in here and do what we do. It's a separation from what really your fan base was clamoring about. We need these high-level dudes. Joe, it's an impressive level of recruiting. You're dominating on the offensive line. You go and get a tight end, a quarterback, and then you're dominating in the secondary. It's a really good overall look for Michigan, for Notre Dame. We just got done talking about yes.
I do agree. Like that to me is like you're getting all these guys that are top 10 at your position, which Notre Dame's done in the past, but like now you're starting to.
Joe, it's the number one safety in the country, damn.
Yeah. Well, he's number. There's a really good safety class.
I think he's number 3, but I mean he's right for Blaine Bradford and all those kids.
There's 4 or 5-star safeties in this class. It's like one of the rarest safety classes that you'll ever see. But in a normal year, he's the number 1 safety. I think that the last part with this 2 guys that committed a little bit ago that can be brought up in this conversation as well that fits the Notre Dame identity. They got 2 running backs, 2 of the highest rated running backs in this class, number 8 and number 10 in this class, Jonas Walton and Javian Osborne. Their play styles are not identical, but very similar to the pairing that we have right now with Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love. They know what they need to do to breed success. It's grabbing 2 guys to play off of one another. One's speed, one's a little bit more bruiser between the tackles. And then you're building through your offensive line and getting big name tight ends. So that's the whole piece with this is if you finish on signing day with all these guys sticking to ND, which it's been a lot easier, as you mentioned at the beginning of the segment, it's been a lot easier to keep guys committed because there's a lot more incentives to keep guys committed than in the past. You will have a top 3 class. You could end up having the number 1 class depending on what else happens.
Gotta hold on. Listen.
Yeah, I won't give you shit for that. I mean, that's true. That applies to any recruiting class. You gotta hold on because Notre Dame. I watched them lose guys like Keon Keeley and stuff, Peyton Bowen last second, where I thought that they had him, and then last second changed their mind. So I don't disagree with that.
You gotta hold on. We don't play the game of that. You're not gonna hold on. The reason I brought that up is that when we do these, people will come in June and say, oh, see, no, they didn't hold on. You can't trust these kids. It happens every year that we've been doing the show.
Right.
Regardless of that, we're reacting to the now. And if we're reacting to the now, they are the number 3 class in the country. You did bring up something about Notre Dame just to finish this very quickly. Rodney Durham, Joe, is another separator. So defensively, again, they've done some dominating things. You talk about the defensive line. That's why I brought up earlier, hey, you want to know how Saban separated? He got an elite defensive lineman, and his secondary was elite. That is the bottom line. When you talk about those elite defenses, you got a premier defensive lineman, and then their secondary was always really good. So if they hold on,